Did you know that the conflict between Russia and Ukraine has roots going back to 2014, when Russia annexed Crimea, sparking a crisis that has reshaped geopolitics in Europe? The Russia-Ukraine conflict is one of the most significant and complex issues of our time, with far-reaching consequences for global politics and international relations. It's a clash between two nations with intertwined histories, cultures, and economies, and understanding its intricacies is crucial for making sense of the modern world. As we dive into this conflict, you'll realize that it's not just about two countries, it's about the fate of nations, the rise and fall of empires, and the delicate balance of power in the 21st century. The consequences of this conflict are already being felt across the globe. From economic sanctions to trade wars, from military buildups to humanitarian crises, the Russia-Ukraine conflict has become a litmus test for international cooperation, diplomacy, and security. As we explore this topic, we'll uncover the hidden narratives, the untold stories, and the unseen forces driving this conflict. As the world watches, Russia and Ukraine are locked in a struggle that will define the course of history. It's a story of power, identity, and survival, with the entire world holding its breath. Over the next hour, we'll unravel the tangled threads of this conflict, examining its roots, its escalations, and its possible outcomes. In 2014, Russia's annexation of Crimea was seen as a bold move, a calculated gamble to reclaim its sphere of influence in Eastern Europe. But this event triggered a chain reaction, with Ukraine responding by strengthening ties with the West, and Russia countering by supporting separatist movements in eastern Ukraine. The Euromaidan protests in Kiev, the ousting of Viktor Yanukovych, and the subsequent formation of the Donetsk and Luhansk People's Republics, these were the sparks that ignited the flames of war. As the conflict escalated, the world witnessed a surge in military buildups, ceasefires, and failed peace talks, with France, Germany, and the United States attempting to broker a settlement. In the years that followed, the conflict evolved into a hybrid war, with Russia employing non-linear tactics, from cyber warfare to disinformation campaigns, to undermine Ukraine's sovereignty. Ukraine, meanwhile, has sought to strengthen its military, reform its government, and integrate with Western institutions. The international community has responded with a mix of sanctions, diplomatic pressure, and humanitarian aid, but the conflict remains unresolved. The ongoing fighting has displaced millions, created a humanitarian crisis, and led to widespread human suffering. In the heart of the conflict zone, civilians are caught in the crossfire, facing daily challenges, from food and medicine shortages to arbitrary detention and forced conscription. The human cost of the war is staggering, with estimates suggesting over 13,000 fatalities, 30,000 injuries, and 1.5 million internally displaced persons. The environmental impact is equally devastating, with munitions contaminating soil and water, and infrastructure destruction exacerbating the humanitarian crisis. The Donbass region, once a thriving industrial hub, is now a battleground, its people trapped in a never-ending cycle of violence. As the conflict drags on, the stakes are rising. The world is watching, and the consequences of inaction are dire. A failed Ukrainian state would embolden Russia, undermining the post-World War II liberal order and destabilizing the entire region. In this toxic environment, finding a lasting solution is a daunting task. The Minsk agreements, brokered by France and Germany, have yielded limited results, and the Normandy format, which brings together France, Germany, Russia, and Ukraine, has stalled. The United States, once a key player, has retreated from the diplomatic scene, leaving the Europeans to navigate the treacherous landscape alone. Amidst the diplomatic stalemate, humanitarian organizations are shouldering the burden, providing aid to affected communities and advocating for a peaceful resolution. The Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, OSCE, has deployed monitors to the conflict zone, but their efforts are often hampered by restrictions imposed by the separatist regions. The International Committee of the Red Cross is working tirelessly to alleviate human suffering, but its resources are stretched thin. As the world struggles to find a solution, Ukraine is seeking to reform its economy, strengthen its military, and integrate with the West. The European Union and NATO are providing military aid, training, and strategic guidance, but the pace of progress is slow. Russia, meanwhile, is doubling down on its support for the separatist regions, funneling in arms, troops, and financial aid. The Kremlin is betting on a long game, hoping to wear down Ukraine's resistance, and eventually bring it back into its sphere of influence. The people of Ukraine are caught in the crossfire, their lives dictated by the whims of geopolitics. They deserve better. They deserve a chance to rebuild their lives, to restore their economy, and to forge a new future, free from the shackles of Russian dominance. The Russia-Ukraine conflict is a harsh reminder that, in today's world, power and identity are intertwined. As we search for a solution, we must confront the darkest aspects of human nature, our capacity for violence, our propensity for hatred, and our willingness to sacrifice others for our own interests. In the end, this conflict is not just about Russia and Ukraine, it's about us, about our values, about our commitment to human dignity, and about our ability to work together to create a more just and peaceful world. As we conclude this documentary, we urge you to engage in further research about the conflict, to share your thoughts, and to explore the complexities of this crisis. Remember, the story of Russia and Ukraine is still unfolding, and its outcome will shape the course of history. If you're interested in learning more about the Russia-Ukraine conflict, we recommend checking out our recommended reading list and watching related videos for more in-depth analysis. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the heart of the conflict. Until next time, goodbye.